Okay, I will also continue a little bit about kind of what I see challenges in this area. I also start with this study. I also noticed the same thing that when the companies are looking at places where they can have education or training, universities or colleges are not very high on the list. And personally, I don't think that this is necessarily a problem, because when we think about the immediate training for the BIM in the companies for the existing stuff, it's not necessarily so that the universities are the right place to do that. So we do have actually here in the UK quite a lot of providers that provide different CPD courses or training for professionals. And there are very different levels. Some of them are very short, more like introductions to the BIM, and some are very specific for specific professionals. So I think that the training possibilities are relatively well covered, even if the companies don't see that the universities have a very strong role in that sense. But when we think about this image, actually this is showing that also the respondents see that universities have a role when we speak about medium long-term solutions. So you see that undergrad and postgraduate courses are about half of the education need. So I think that this is showing that industry is seeing the importance of the university education as well. But a couple of conclusions that were in the report as well is that first of all, saying clearly that education is not producing the BIM-skilled candidates needed by the industry now, and that we need closer links between the industry and academic institutions. And also, like in the previous presentation, quite clearly was shown that SMEs desperately need those people who really have the skills when they come and start working in the companies. Personally, I think that this closer links between the industry and academic institutions is one of the crucial issues. This is an area where, in my opinion, many of the top companies are going ahead of the academic institutions. So we really need the expertise from the industry to bring out students the up-to-date information. In many fields, I would say very few universities are on the same level as the best companies in the world when we speak about the BIM adoption and the use of BIM. So basically I see that the focus of the university education should be in the medium long term, not so much in the training, because it's really, we are speaking about higher education in the university. What is easy to do in the universities is to establish a specialized program to make BIM specialists. I was establishing the first one here in the UK in the University of Salford, and I've also now established one in the University of Liverpool. This is something that we can do quite easily because there are no regulations about that. It's something totally new. It doesn't compete with the existing education systems. But of course, this is not the solution for the whole industry, because we need relatively few of those people. This is just the website of our BIM program in Liverpool. And so I think that we have already established the education for the BIM specialists who can be then the project managers or BIM managers or strategists in the companies. But we need relatively few people in that area. The real challenge is that how to embed BIM into the normal education of building industry professionals. And this is quite challenging. There is a BIM academic forum who has, in collaboration with the UK government, BIM task group, developed some guidelines for how to embed that. So we do have some understanding about what we should be doing. And one of the things there is this impact matrix, so absent, aware, infused, or embedded. I'm afraid that at the moment, most of the undergrad and master level programs are either on the absent or aware level. We are not really on the level where most of the programs would have been infusing, and very few, if any, program in the UK or I would say almost in the whole world has been embedding BIM into the education so that it would be a functional part of the education, so that when the students start learning their profession, they would be using BIM as a normal tool. BIM is still something which is more like an add-on that is kind of put on top of the traditional education systems. Also, the learning outcomes have been defined. So we do have the framework how to teach BIM as a part of the education in our professions, but unfortunately it doesn't happen in very many universities. I have to emphasize that of course there are exceptions, like in the industry there are very different levels in the universities as well, so that some universities are more advanced than others, but in general I'm speaking about the kind of an average level. In general, I don't think that BIM is very much infused or embedded in the teaching that we have. And to support my statements, I took a couple of slides also from this BIM Academic Forum report about the current position and associated challenges in BIM education, which was published last year. And when we look at this picture, you can see that the green line, level 2 BIM, is either not developed, barely developed, or average in most of the universities. There are some universities who are saying that it's developed, and also some very developed, but also quite a lot of unsure, that people don't even know. And I think that's even more alarming than having the situation that people say that it's barely developed, because at least at that point they know what it is. So it's really not much there. And when we look at the level 3, it's quite natural, of course, that it's not part of the education yet. So because it was actually defined what level 3 means, it was about a year ago, so it hasn't been possible to embed that to the education so far. But it's quite clear when we look at this that BIM is not very functional part of the education. And what is even more alarming when thinking about the integrated projects is that in some areas, when you look at that the low interest or not aware, that we have basically mechanical, electrical engineering, civil structures, also the quantity takeoff, they are almost not interested about the whole topic. How can we have an integrated team if we have the situation that people on that area don't even know about BIM in their education? And when we think about the situation that we are now in the universities, we are educating people who are about to come to the industry. They will be working here in the industry still 2050, 2060, when that this is definitely something that it has to be basic skill. And if it's not part of the education in some of the construction-related areas, I think that it's a very, very dangerous situation. There are some areas, like as you can see, that for example in the architecture and architectural technology, the interest is relatively high, and also these construction-related programs. So in some areas there is more interest in BIM. But in some areas, the teachers are not even aware of the situation. And when we look at how it's used in the education, it's, as you can see again here, is that in some levels, like level 5, there is some tool-related, so hands-on type of education, also some lectures, but also quite big the blue line, which is that it's not provided or not involved on that level. So quite many people answering these questionnaires were saying that BIM is not part of our system. And we have to remember that this questionnaire was made by the BIM Academic Forum, so we can expect that these are the universities who should be more aware of the BIM than average universities in the UK. So again, it's a little bit like the study about the BIM skills, that we get the answers that are actually showing a more rosy picture than the real reality is in the industry. And I think that we should really go a little bit further than just kind of starting to take the BIM software into the education. I think that we really should be very fundamentally think the way that we are teaching people. When I started to study architecture in 1970, the pen was basically the only tool that we had, and the education is still very often based on the same methods that were used when I was studying architecture, although the world has been changing. And when I think about the future where we should be educating our students, it will definitely be a very different one that was when I was young and studying architecture. So we should really rethink that how to educate people. The first question is really that when we think about the paper-based environment, paper was controlling the level of detail automatically. In 1 to 200 drawings, you couldn't put more information. That was limiting, the media was limiting you. Now when we have BIM, we can go to any level of detail, and people have to have much firmer understanding about what is really needed at different stages. And this is a big challenge in the education. If you really start looking at the level of detail definitions, how to really teach that to people who have no understanding about the construction processes? It's a really big challenge, but we have to do that. And when we, in Finland, we were analyzing some of the early BIM project that we did in 2002, 2007, most of the problems were related to that data that was coming too late in the process. You had to make some decisions, and some of the crucial data was missing there. So do we ourselves understand the future processes? And if we don't, how can we teach the students to understand them? And this is analyzing the processes, the information flows, information needs at the different stages, who needs what and who delivers what is really crucial. It should be part of the education, but we don't have very good material to teach that. Also, my area is architecture, that's why the examples are from that, but I think that we can apply the same basic principles also to other branches. Most teachers are expert in 2D drafting. Very few are experts on BIM. That means that there is a lot of friction if you try to start embedding BIM in the early education. In the worst case, it can be that somebody is actively resisting that. When we started to use BIM in Finland 15 years ago, many of the university teachers were saying that this is just a fad, we should not kind of do anything about the teaching. Now the situation has been gradually changing in Finland, but still there is a lot of resistance among the teachers about the way of changing the ways that we have. Also, one of the things is that we can't just kind of add into the education. We have to decide what to leave out. And this is one of the big challenges that we have. So how to change the existing curricula so that we can start teaching the things that are crucial. And also part of this is that we are not kind of thinking without the media. Media is part of our thinking process. So media is affecting that. And when we think about how the construction industry has been developing, we were using physical models, then very illustrative drawings. When the copying machines were invented, the black ink on the transparent paper was the only way of that you could be copying, so the representation was changed. Then 2D CAD was imitating that. And then now we are kind of going back to the modeling, although in the virtual world. And this is something that it's very fundamentally part of our thinking. The architects who have been learning how to think through the drawings, they have to relearn the profession if they start doing the modeling. That's one of the challenges that we are facing when we are trying to re-educate the architects. So this is something that we should really consider when we are teaching the students. Why are we still forcing them to use paper drawings in the beginning of the education and then kind of giving the possibilities to start modeling later on? So my question is that should we really rethink totally the way that we are educating our students so that they would start thinking through the models rather than drawings? I think that this is a very fundamental question, but I haven't seen that there would be many places. Probably there is no university in the world that would have been really embedding that from the beginning of the undergrad. So to be a little bit provocative, when I think about the situation, the kids that are coming now to the university, they have been playing 3D games all their lives. It's nothing new for them. Why are we forcing them to do 2D drawings and then later on allow them to start using models? To me, it should be the other way around. Why are we not starting with playing with the models and then teaching them how to generate the drawings from the models? Because we still need the drawings for a while. And understanding the drawings is, of course, a crucial skill for the designers and also the construction professionals. But what should be really the source of the information? So my last slide is really, when we think about what's happening now around us, the robotics are coming to the construction industry, 3D printing is coming to the construction industry. How long do we need drawings, really? Usually when I say this, that drawings will become obsolete, most architects say that it's impossible. The drawings are absolutely part of the understanding the scale and the buildings. But I don't really think so. I think that we can really directly go to the modeling as well. So I think that we should rethink the whole education system very fundamentally when we are kind of thinking about the students who will be working 40 years from now in the industry. Okay, thank you.